Hello and welcome to the Social Workers Bookshelf. My name is Stephanie, and today I want to do a book review on a workbook that I am absolutely in love with, and I hope that you guys like it too. So, the LGBTQ+ Youth Workbook. This is a workbook that honestly, I didn't know existed. I happened to just find it on Amazon while searching for other books, and I'm really glad I did. So far, this has been an amazing book that I've flipped through. So let's dive into this book because it's got some amazing elements that I really want to share with you guys.
Okay, this book has a lot to look through, so let's just get right into it. The LGBTQ+ Youth, the guided workbook to support sexual orientation and gender identity. Let's flip right to the table of contents. A lot of awesome stuff in here. The nice thing I like is it breaks it up into mainly two parts: clinician and educator toolbox, and then clinical approaches to LGBTQ+ youth. And then the nice thing is it breaks it down by each subpopulation. So it's got a general overview, then lesbian youth, gay youth, bisexual, transgender, gender transition, and questioning youth. I like the breakdown. It's nice and easy, and you can figure out where you need to go right away. Again, with their breakdown, I just like this because it's nice and easy to get to. It tells you what each chapter is about, so you kind of get a little snippet of what you need in little summaries of each thing, which could be really good if you need to use it to discuss this maybe with schools or programs or anything. It just gives you a snap, like what is needed and what is covered and some of the things that are needed for this population. It even gives references right in it. I love it. It's just a quick and easy, like, that's what you need. Okay, and one thing I want to point out, which is super important, we always have to make sure, is this does give you permission that worksheets and exercises that are boxed in are meant to be reproduced and given directly to youth. So you can copy these if they're boxed, and I will show you as soon as we get to one. So I know I have so much stuff in this book that I want to share with you, so bear with me. Love that the very first thing is grounding and centering meditation for identity development. Love it. Love that this is the first thing that they promote. Gives you guided meditation and stuff like that. I love that. It's a great thing to start this book off. So as you can see, this is boxed. This means that it's allowed to be reproduced and given to youth directly. So that's awesome. Makes it quick and easy to find out which things you can copy. As you can see, this isn't, so you cannot give this out. So with that, this is getting to know all the terms, which is awesome. It kind of lets you maybe fill in some of the things that they're thinking it is. And it also says if they aren't new to you, that's fine. If they are new to you, let's explore them. On the next page, it actually lists out what each one is. So that would be a really good thing to share and to kind of go over into. The one note I have on here is, unfortunately, I don't see two-spirited in here, which made me a little sad. They do have a few different cultural references, but two-spirited is not in here, so I would definitely add that in there because of the populations I work with, and so I just wanted to bring attention to that. I thought about this one a lot, but I really enjoyed this page. So it's exploring for yourself where you land on sexual orientation grid. It gives information about who created this and why it's done this way. And then the things that I really liked is these little notes. Please identify the gender you're most attracted to if one stands out. If not, there's no need to identify. Additionally, you can keep it private until you're ready to share. Love that. Love it. Just right off the bat, letting you know that you don't have to share, you don't have to fall on this grid or anything like that. That's one big note I have for this book. I love the amount of positivity that is this book. I'm baffled by it, and it makes me really excited to use this book. So a couple other things I want to point out. Safety planning, such a huge thing to do with any teen, especially this population, is always good. And again, it kind of tells you some of that stuff. It's great to have in here. And is your family ready for you to come out? I really like this little learn section and what it talks about, that when young people come out, they've already been on the journey for quite some time. For parents and family members, the journey is just beginning. So I really, really like this. Sometimes the family members sync up, and sometimes it takes time, and sometimes it doesn't happen at all. I like that it gets to the point and it explains things so clearly to me, and it's just right there, and it's good. I'm really excited about that. Okay, another thing I wanted to bring attention to, let's talk about sex. Love it. It talks about, so this is under the lesbian youth section, so it's going to be different in each section. This is just the first section I got to, so each section is going to kind of cover this, and I just liked it because it talks about initiating sex and not wanting sex, or wanting sex, sorry. So it kind of covers all those things, which I think is really awesome to cover and not covered enough. It also talks about attraction and dating in the community and how to date and all those things. So again, great information we should be sharing with all of our teens. So love the excitement on that. Some of the other stuff I wanted to make note of. Men who love men. So this is, sorry, I think I flipped past it. This is going to be the section of gay youth. And it just talks about examining the words and phrases if you've seen them and been affected by them. And I think a lot of individuals have been affected by some of these terms, and just exploring those experiences with them can be really good and powerful to think about. Again, talking about gay sex and safety, just goes over those things. Again, I love the little learning section that kind of gives more resources and education around that, and then the practice and reflecting. Again, this is outlined, this can be shared. Another thing, body image. Just reflecting on how you feel and if you're concerned about any of these parts of your body. Okay. We're going to be in bisexual youth. It talks about double discrimination for individuals who are bi or even pansexual. It talks about how they've faced discrimination from within the LGBTQ community, as well as the dominant culture, which is that double discrimination that they talk about. So they talk about how that impacts them, which I think is a great thing to cover for this subpopulation. So this next section has a lot of activities to do. Oops. Yep. It's got a lot of activities to do with the youth that can do it with trusted adults. So this can be the counselor, this can be parents, this can be any trusted adult that they have. So this was the section that I'm talking about. Sorry. So the one I wanted to look at is the gender dysphoria scale. This is just a quick and easy thing that they can do. Again, talks about a little bit of history and then goes through and they can rate where they're at. And I love this. Is it body image problem or the gender? It goes through some of those arguments that we always hear about gender dysphoria, you know, related to gender, body dysmorphia. So it breaks those two down and goes by each section, which is nice to have. Talks about pronouns, which is so important. Okay. One thing I definitely wanted to share, readiness to transition. So this is an amazing thing to have. It talks about some of that background about transitioning and the readiness for it, and then it gives the clinician the readiness letter template for what they can write for when someone is ready to take that step into transitioning. So this is the one letter that's required from hormone treatment, or the 2 separate letters from mental health professionals are required for surgery. So this kind of helps with that. Assessment of level of distress associated with gender assigned at birth. I really like this breakdown about things to consider when they're thinking about transitioning, and where they can scale. Again, as we all know as mental health professionals, it's not just a overnight decision. These things take time, and these kids have a lot to think about, and they've been thinking about it for a long time. So this kind of gives them something concrete to look at and to kind of work through with those parents and those other trusted adults. Okay, questioning youth. Let's get to this last section, clinical approaches to LGBTQ+ youth treatment. So this I really liked. Cool little graphic. I'm gonna flip to the page I want here. Talks about educational trauma, which I think is a great thing to have. And this is, I love this little quote. My team collaborators define educational trauma as any trauma that happens at school. So it talks a lot about these examples of harm that's happening in schools to these kiddos. And just to be aware of this and to give more knowledge to it. I really love this section too, compassion, countertransference, and counterreaction too. So this is for the clinicians to work through, because we don't always know, we've never worked with. So I like this because this is talking about our biases. We all have them. We need to be aware of them. We need to keep them in check and understand our biases. So I like the breakdown of this to understand maybe what our own biases are so we can be aware of them. It talks about internal biases. I think this is amazing. I'm definitely going to do this myself because I want to become more confident as a clinician to serving this population that I already serve. I want to feel confident in it and be aware of these biases. Maybe I have them that I want to be aware, and I think everyone should do this. It's amazing. Can't say enough stuff about this book that I love. Okay. Training LGBTQ+ youth in self-compassion. Love it already. So it's really trying to teach the youth about that mindfulness awareness, self-kindness. It really goes through a lot of this stuff, which is awesome. Self-compassion training protocol from traumatized teens. It's amazing stuff. Safety issues, acceptance, and outcomes. So a couple things I wanted to pull out here. Assessing risk questionnaire. So being aware of the risk that the kids are putting themselves in for possible coming out. So it talks about what is your opinion of your parents or loved ones' openness to the LGBTQ+ community, what are their values and views and stuff. Is there anyone in your family you may not yet be ready to come out to, and why? So it kind of assesses those, which is nice to have. It also has worksheets for families too, to be aware of maybe their readiness to come out. Yeah, I love it. Families come out too. So it gets them used to getting used to their child's sexual orientation or gender expression. Just they get to do a survey and be understanding of where they are at. I think this could be super useful. Okay. Social justice in schools. I know some of you school social workers, this will be perfect to know, and it tells you the things that you can do to work with your schools, or even if you're a clinician, help advocating for your kids at schools about the LGBTQ+ community. This is so huge in the area I'm in. This book is priceless for that part. A couple other areas just wanted to quick point out. Here we go. Questions. Answering questions from concerned people. These are questions that I know we all get quite often, so I think it's great to have some of these, to have possible answers. I love it. I love that part. And appendix, talking about gender. This has a great gender support plan, talking about, it's got all these amazing sections and you can use with permission, the student safety, confidentiality, names, pronouns, student records. So it is to be created, share understanding about ways in which the student's authentic gender will be accounted for and supported at school. Here is a great document to use for school. And it's long, and I love it because use of facilities, other considerations, extracurricular activities. If you are like me and in a state that doesn't support this population as it should, this is going to be so helpful. And I mean, at least it's probably not going to solve all the very problems that we have, but it's a conversation starter, and it's some document to use that's already created to help these kiddos. So again, this is the book. I absolutely love it, and I'm so excited to have this as a part of my library now.
So that was the dive into the LGBTQ+ workbook. I hope that you guys loved it as much as I did. It's got some amazing resources that I think can be so well used in our schools, with parents, with youth, everywhere. I know being in a rural state, this is going to be an amazing resource for a lot of social workers in my area. So I'm really excited to share this with other therapists and other social workers. I hope you enjoy it. Please let me know if you have any comments, questions, or even recommendations down below in the comments. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and check me out on my Instagram, The Social Workers Bookshelf. Bye!
Here go book. Mommy, they got paper on it?